Stop reacting.
Everyone wants peace. Everyone says they want a calm life, a quiet mind, a peaceful heart. But if you look closely at how people live every day, you will notice something strange. Most people lose their peace not because of tragedy, not because of disaster, not because of real danger. They lose it because of words. A careless comment, a rude stranger, a coworker's criticism, a message that never receives a reply. And suddenly something small becomes something heavy. A moment becomes a mood. A mood becomes a ruined day. But there is a truth most people never realize. No one actually has the power to disturb your peace. They only offer you the opportunity. The rest is always your choice. This is the story of a man who discovered that truth too late in life and yet just in time to change everything. In a quiet town near a long, winding river lived a man named Daniel. Daniel was known by many things: hardworking, honest, responsible. But above all, Daniel was known for one trait that followed him everywhere: his temper. Daniel did not think of himself as an angry man. He believed he was simply reacting to a frustrating world. When a customer complained unfairly at his shop, Daniel argued. When someone cut in front of him in traffic, Daniel shouted. When neighbors played music too loudly at night, Daniel banged on the wall. And each time he told himself the same story: people are the problem. They force me to react like this. But anger has a strange nature. It always convinces you that someone else is responsible. And so Daniel carried his anger everywhere he went, like a backpack he never put down. One afternoon, Daniel walked through a small park by the river. There he noticed an old gardener trimming a row of plants. The man worked slowly, peacefully. Around him, children ran, dogs barked, and teenagers laughed loudly. But the gardener never looked irritated. Daniel stood watching him for a while. Finally, he asked, "Doesn't the noise bother you?" The gardener looked up with gentle eyes. "Why would it?" Daniel frowned. "Because people are loud and disrespectful." The old man smiled. Then he pointed to the river nearby. The surface of the water was calm. Suddenly, a boy threw a stone into the river. Ripples spread across the water. "Look closely," the gardener said. Daniel watched. After a few seconds, the water returned to stillness. "What do you see?" the gardener asked. Daniel shrugged. "Someone threw a stone." "Yes," the gardener said, but the river did not become angry. The disturbance came, and then it passed. Daniel did not fully understand. "What does that have to do with people irritating me?" The gardener replied, "People throw stones at your mind every day. Criticism, rudeness, unfairness. But the real question is not why they throw stones. The real question is why you keep holding the ripples." Daniel stood silently. The idea felt strange. For years he had believed anger was something people caused. But now the gardener suggested something else. That anger was something he kept alive himself. A few days later, Daniel returned to the park again. The gardener handed him a small stone. "Put this in your pocket." Daniel did. Then another stone, and another. Soon Daniel's pockets were full. "Now walk around the park." After 10 minutes, Daniel returned. "This feels uncomfortable," he said. The gardener nodded. That's exactly what anger does. Every insult becomes a stone. Every argument becomes a stone. Every small offense becomes another stone. Year after year, people fill their pockets. And then they wonder why life feels so heavy. Daniel slowly removed the stones and placed them on a bench. For the first time, he wondered how many invisible stones he had been carrying for years. The lesson seemed simple in theory, but life always tests new ideas. The next morning, Daniel experienced that test. While driving to work, another car suddenly cut in front of him. The driver didn't even signal. Daniel felt the familiar surge of anger rise inside him. His hands tightened on the steering wheel. His heart began beating faster. The old reaction was automatic. Shout, honk, chase. But then he remembered the gardener's words. "Why do you keep holding the ripples?" Daniel inhaled slowly. And for the first time in years, he did something different. He let the car go, and within seconds, something surprising happened. The anger disappeared, as if it had never been there. Daniel began experimenting with this new idea. He noticed something important. Most conflicts require two people, two egos, two reactions, two fires feeding each other. But when only one person refuses to react, the fire has nothing left to burn. One afternoon at the market, a man accused Daniel of taking his place in line. The accusation was loud and aggressive. Everyone turned to watch. Daniel felt the familiar urge to defend himself. But instead, he simply said, "You can go ahead." The man looked confused. The fight he expected never arrived. And strangely, Daniel felt something he rarely experienced before. Relief. Weeks passed. Something inside Daniel began changing. He still faced rude people. Unfair situations still appeared. But they no longer controlled his emotional state. Because Daniel realized something powerful. The world had not changed. Only his reaction had. And that small shift created enormous freedom. One evening, Daniel returned to the park again. He sat beside the gardener and asked, "Why do people react so quickly to everything?" The gardener paused for a moment. Then he asked Daniel a question. "Have you ever held a burning coal?" Daniel shook his head. The gardener picked up a small stick and drew a circle in the dirt. Anger is like holding a burning coal. People believe they are throwing it at someone else, but the first person it burns is always the one holding it. Daniel stared at the ground silently. The metaphor was simple, but its truth was undeniable. The gardener continued speaking. "Most people believe peace depends on the world being quiet, but the world will never be quiet. There will always be noise. There will always be unfairness. There will always be difficult people." He pointed to the sky where clouds were moving slowly. "You cannot control the weather, but you can build a strong house." Daniel understood the real problem had never been the world. It had always been the storm inside his own mind. Time passed. Daniel grew older, but something remarkable happened. People began seeking his advice. They noticed something different about him. He remained calm, even when others were upset. One day, a young man asked him, "How do you stay so peaceful?" Daniel smiled and replied, "I stopped trying to control other people, and I started learning how to control myself." One evening, Daniel stood again beside the river. The surface of the water reflected the setting sun. A child nearby threw a stone. Ripples spread across the surface. But Daniel simply watched and waited. Within seconds, the water returned to calm, and in that quiet moment, he understood something deeply. Peace was never something the world could give him. Peace was something he had to protect. Your life will never be free from difficult people. There will always be criticism, always misunderstandings, always unfair moments, but none of them have the power to control your peace unless you give them permission. Every reaction is a decision. Every moment of calm is a victory. And the person who controls their reactions controls their life. So the next time someone throws a stone at your mind, pause, take a breath, and remember the river. Let the ripples settle, because true strength is not found in shouting louder than others. True strength is found in remaining calm when the world expects you to lose control. If this story made you reflect on your own reactions, share it with someone who might need it today, because sometimes a simple story can change the way we see our lives. And if you enjoy stories that help you grow stronger and wiser, subscribe for the next one. Your next lesson might be waiting in the next story.